Canelo Alvarez rips Sergey Kovalev, calls him a bad loser. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It does help the channel. The link is in the description of all my videos. Smash the like button. This is going to be a fun one. Canelo Alvarez rips Sergey Kovalev, says he's a poor sport and a, quote, bad loser. Canelo has been under fire for the Kovalev performance and the outcome, just how it looked, why Kovalev didn't look the same, and if he cherry picked, the usual stuff, new media. Right? And one of the people that was criticizing him was fellow Mexican. He's a host of ESPN's Los Golpes, and he has been critical of Canelo for quite some time, saying Canelo is like basically kind of gaming the system, exploiting certain weaknesses and using weight and stipulations, just the same stuff I've told you, using weight and stipulations and contractual agreements to weaken opponents and or fighting them out of prime, those kind of things. Now, Canelo, the pressure has definitely amounted, and he actually appeared with his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, on this show, and he spoke his side and rebutted Kovalev. So here's some pull quotes from ESPN, link in the description. Los Angeles. Canelo Alvarez shot back Friday at statements made by most recent opponent Sergey Kovalev, who suggested he took the November 2nd title bout against Alvarez for the paycheck, despite a grueling schedule. Alvarez scored an 11th round knockout to grab Kovalev's light heavyweight world title at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Kovalev, who took the fight with Alvarez after defeating Anthony Yarde on August 24th, said recently that having 2 training camps, he actually said 3, so this is misinformation from ESPN. He says he had 3. He had 1 that got canceled. But the article says Kovalev said recently having 2 training camps so close together took a toll on his conditioning. But if you go listen to Kovalev, he said he had 3. Because you have to remember, Canelo's not supposed to fight in November, which created a whole different circus when Canelo was pitted against UFC 244 for the BMF title. And Kovalev, Canelo had to take a back seat to that fight and wait, and DAZN made all the fans wait. Canelo typically fights on the quote-unquote Mexican dates, historic dates in America for usually, the top earner in the sport, and oftentimes in the past it's been against a Latino fighter with somebody like Floyd or Oscar De La Hoya and somebody else, etc. Canelo was supposed to fight in September against Kovalev, but Kovalev said he was shortchanged and lowballed, and therefore the fight it didn't manifest. Kovalev had duties to fight Anthony Yarde, and he said, they're not giving me the money I want. I got to fight this guy. So we're taking the Yarde fight in Russia. He's willing to fight me in my backyard. That's what we're doing. Alvarez responded by calling Kovalev a, quote, bad loser, saying that weight, quote, has nothing to do with it. He's a bad loser, Alvarez told ESPN Deportes. Weight is not an excuse. All fighters have to battle to make weight. Alvarez also took issue with what he considered unfair criticism, including claims that his fights are fixed, but he conceded that it's all part of the business. Quote, the media takes things out of context, Alvarez said. If you study boxing, you can give your point of view and know what you're talking about. There is no reason for that to bother me. Alvarez has fought Gennady Golovkin twice, winning their second fight by majority decision. First ended in a draw, and he said he has no desire to see Triple G inside the ring again. Canelo says, quote, I don't want to fight him being Triple G. He doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I gave him 24 rounds, and that's that. As for a potential rematch with Floyd Mayweather, who on Thursday night teased a coming out of retirement in 2020, Alvarez said he had taken the loss, the only loss on his record, to heart. Quote, "I've imagined fighting him again, but more than the loss, the fight was a lesson. I would love to fight Mayweather again. Hopefully we can." Now, listen, Floyd already whooped him. Let's just jump into my thoughts. Floyd already whooped him. He really pitched a shutout. You know, Canelo looked bad, and now that Floyd is halfway in the retirement home, you know what I'm saying? And he's 40 plus, 41, 42. Kovalev has moved, or excuse me, Canelo has moved up as high as 175. The fight's not happening. You know, I know a lot of people want to see it because they want Floyd to be at any kind of disadvantage so they can hopefully, in their minds, see him lose. But Mayweather already beat Canelo. So the bottom line is Mayweather is in the driver's seat if they were to fight again and it came down to negotiations. So why on earth would Floyd fight Canelo at 175 when he already beat him cleanly and he really has nothing to prove in that arena? You know, why would he fight him at 168? Why would he fight him at 160? He already defeated the man, you know. But again, you know, the haters are going to want to see that because they think that gives Canelo the best chance. You notice how the Canelo man fans, they always want to see Canelo at the advantage and they never want Canelo to be at a disadvantage. Like they didn't, when Andre Ward was an active fighter, they didn't want to see him fight Andre Ward. I didn't hear clamoring. But then after he beats Kovalev and Ward's a commentator and host of a TV show, The Contender and stuff like that, now all of a sudden Canelo fans, you know, act like they want to see Canelo. And I still think Ward would beat Canelo, even out of retirement, because he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't abuse his body, and the style is all wrong for Canelo. But Ward already shot that down, so that's one less thing to even have to worry about. Ward says he made a pact, he retired for a reason, and he's going to keep it that way. So it's not going to be Ward and it's not going to be Mayweather because, again, Canelo has already blown past 154. He can't even make 154. I mean, fighting 175, I mean, it wouldn't even make sense for Floyd to fight him at 154 because, again, Canelo, that would be a built-in excuse for why Canelo lost because he's fighting at 175. Plus, Canelo, why would Mayweather fight on the app? That's where Canelo's no longer on pay-per-view. Mayweather ain't going to go somewhere for no flat fee when he can make all this money on pay-per-view. So that's not even realistic. So let's talk about what is realistic. Canelo versus Golovkin. And he's saying he don't want to fight him. Listen, I'm not even that big on the fight. I don't really care if they do fight. But, you know, Triple G, some people might want to see the trilogy fight, and Canelo's just flat out saying, "Oh, my business is finished with him." And you know, I'm glad he's saying that, to be honest, because I'm good. We don't ever have to fight him again. And the way Golovkin looked in his last fight, it doesn't really mean anything. So Canelo's right there. But this leads me to my next point. I told you, new media. We set the tone and we control the narrative. It's funny that Canelo is all of a sudden having to explain himself and come on shows and rebuttal what's been out. Notice the things I said. Notice the things Ego's Army said. Notice the thing new media said, right? Canelo didn't even really rebuttal it in this interview. He just said, oh, the media takes things out of context. No explanation. You know, his trainer said, oh, it's a shame that Eric Morales, a compatriot, basically is going against the grain. But he's not refuting it. He's like, oh, it's a shame that people are hating. You notice that Canelo's team really, they have to respond, but in their responses, there's no real rebuttal to what's being said. The only thing he's saying, he said Kovalev's a bad loser. Weight is not an excuse. All fighters have to battle to make weight. Yeah, but that's just the simple weight cut. What about the rehydration clause? So why didn't Canelo talk about the rehydration clause? You know, and it's funny because I think the world has caught on to it, and you know, it puts Canelo and DAZN and Golden Boy in a very tight space. The walls are closing in because, you know, he could say, oh, Kovalev's just doing this because he's salty and he's a sore loser. Weight is not an excuse. All fighters have to make weight. Yeah, that's to make the contract to weight. But we all know Canelo goes above and beyond with rehydration clauses, sometimes catch weight, sometimes both, various stipulations that sanctioning bodies, like there was no IBF belt on the line for this fight since Kovalev lost that years ago. So it's the whole thing. It's the whole atmosphere. You have Kovalev, you're not giving him any time to rest off of a war versus Anthony Yard. That's a fact. He was almost stopped. The world's seen that. Anybody who watched that fight that did commentary seen Kovalev almost get stopped, right? So you gave him no time to rest. Meanwhile, Canelo has had since May in the Jacobs fight, which was boring, to rest. And then Kovalev has to jump back into camp, like he said. So he had 3 camps. One was a hard camp, I'm sure, for the Anthony Yard fight. Then the fight itself was hard. And then he has to jump right back in the mix. And now he's coming out. And Kovalev, he really put Canelo in a tight squeeze, because some people were giving him credit for the Kovalev win and 4 division champion. But that pretty much put a damper on that. This is what Canelo posted 2 weeks ago, 4-time champion. So this was before Kovalev came out with that statement. But now when you look at it, no matter how you slice it, it creates a black cloud over the victory, because Kovalev is telling you, I knew I couldn't win. It was impossible for me to win, and everything was stacked against me. They knew this. Golden Boy knew that. He's saying everything new media said before the fight. I told you this was an advanced cherry pick. So now old media looks horrible yet again, because Kovalev is not saying something that actually supports what they've been claiming. Instead, he's saying something that supports what I told you, that this was an advanced cherry pick. That's why, and then everything just falls into place. This is what Canelo's, he's denying it, of course, but he's not really providing a better sound logic. Why do you think Kovalev had to weigh in naked? Why did he have to jump on the scale 3 times? To make weight. When is the last major fight where Kovalev had to weigh in naked? This is not Julio Cesar Chavez or Broner or somebody who's been notorious for missing weight. Both Jean Pascal fights, both Andre Ward fights, I don't remember Kovalev missing weight. But in this fight, he missed weight. So if you're noticing that, and then on top of that, he has a rehydration clause the next day in the AM, so he can only gain a certain amount of weight. Of course, he's going to be spent by the time you get in the ring. This is what people are criticizing Canelo for. And you notice his ESPN interview doesn't really go over. It just says there's a lot of unfair criticism, or Eddie Reynoso will say it's a shame that people are hating on Canelo. The same stuff that they say on my page. But again, people are past that. They want answers, and the pressure's on. And that's why you see Canelo having to respond to these criticisms. He's always had criticisms about, are you fixing fights and stuff? But this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and especially with Kovalev coming out and saying, man, I was not motivated for this fight. I knew I was going to lose, blah, blah, blah. That hurts Canelo's legacy. See, the problem is Canelo and his team, they're trying to, instead of doing what the fans are asking, fight Charlo, fight Andre, fight David Benavidez, fight Zurdo Ramirez. They're trying to create their own path that they feel is the path of least resistance and cherry pick, get a bag, and then claim they did it for legacy. Nobody told Canelo to move up to 175. He just randomly did that. You haven't even cleaned out house at 160 or 168. You haven't really done anything at 168. So why do we want to see you fight Kovalev, who we knew was on his way out? This is not the Kovalev that fought the man on the screen behind him, Bernard Hopkins. This is not the Kovalev that Dre Ward had to fight in the first and second fight. This is a broken Kovalev, right? Who's lost 3 times, stopped 2 of those 3. And now the pressure's on, and Canelo's starting to feel the wrath. He's trapped on the app with DAZN. They didn't really promote his fight. They're letting Andy Ruiz, Joshua 2 get a better one-night special. They're letting KSI and Logan Paul, 2 YouTubers, get better promotion in a better 40 days. And now I think Canelo is forced to face the music. He can't just sit back idly and expect to sell, and he can't just fight whoever he wants to and expect it to do numbers. So I really see Canelo being in a bad position. If Wilder wins this weekend, like I tell you, Wilder is definitely one of the faces of boxing, the face of boxing. He has a knockout style. He's denouncing the franchise champion. Unlike Canelo, his fights don't look like they're scripted, and he's entertaining. He's building up the fight. He's not just sitting back. There's not always something. With Canelo fights, there's always something. That's the consensus. People feel there's always some type of advantage, some type of rehydration clause, and people are hip to it. And that's just what it is. They're hip to it. They're not feeling it. And that's why you're seeing Canelo have to show face more on social media and post more, go on ESPN and explain his side. But he didn't really explain much of anything. He just said Kovalev is a sore loser, and, you know, people are hating on me. But that's not good enough, because was there a rehydration clause? Why won't he say that? He says weight has nothing to do with it, so why would you put a rehydration clause on him? If weight doesn't matter, then you shouldn't care what he comes in at. Why would you? This wasn't for the IBF title, so why don't you come with the regular rules? If you want to fight at 175, even though no one told you to, you know, fight like every other 100. Vodstick didn't get to put a rehydration clause on Artur Beterbiev, and he's strong as hell. Don't you think Vodstick would have preferred that Artur Beterbiev had to make weight and then make his own little weigh-in, you know, the next day to weaken him like Canelo is doing? So it's looking bad because, again, in my opinion, Canelo, his star power is dwindling on the DAZN app, and I don't see how it benefits or how it changes unless he fights someone major. You know, David Benavidez, someone who's doing really good and is perceived as a threat. Charlo, Andrade, you know. Caleb Smith is an interesting fight. I don't know how big it is. I think Canelo would have to go to the UK, but then again, UK has Sky Sports, so it wouldn't be a big fight for DAZN because I don't think that's a big fight in America. Plus, it would come on a UK time. So, you know, I don't really know. Same thing with Billy Joe Saunders. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders has enough of a American presence. Plus, he's coming off a ugly win. You know, he didn't really look good. So I don't know who Canelo's going to fight in his 3 divisions, but if it's not someone the fans are deeming, or people who are coming off good recent wins and performances, then it's going to be a hard sell for Canelo. And then Kovalev, like I said, he totally took a crap on Canelo's victory over him because he told you out the horse's mouth it was impossible to win. That's why people already felt the fight looked fixed. But now with Kovalev saying that, who says that? Who says that the fight was impossible to win? And if you bet on me, then that's your bad, and you're an idiot for even thinking I had a chance here. I came off of 3 hard training camps, a hard fight with Anthony Yard, and you really thought I was going to win? Again, everything I'm saying makes sense. There's a reason Kovalev, for the first time, couldn't make weight. That was the first warning sign, which I talked about before the outcome of the fight. You know, dang, why is Kovalev having to weigh in 3 times? When have you known Kovalev to have to weigh in 3 times to get it right and then weigh in naked? Bro, he had no time to rest. And he even said that in his tell-all vlog or whatever. He says Golden Boy knew this, and, you know, they used all this against me. And I'm surprised I even lasted to the 11th round the way I was feeling. I was tired after the 6th or 7th round. So this is why Canelo and team Eddie Reynoso are now responding, doing damage control, because new media. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.